Okay, now for a moment, let's talk about the stereo bus. I go back and forth on the value of the stereo bus in the mix. This particular record, the only thing I have on the stereo bus is just simply an L2, and it's not even there to do anything other than just simply control the overs. So I'm not getting any clips. It just simply, if you look at it while it's playing, it's barely, it's barely touching. I'm at like 1 and 1. Most minimal, So you're not, most you ever get is just like a little tiny just blip of actual reduction. It's just mainly, so when you look at it here, there's no, there's no overs. But when I send it to mastering, I send it like this. I'll send it minus that. I won't even have it on. This is what I send to mastering, with no stereo bus at all. And I want to send it to mastering with enough headroom that he can actually do something with it. Because a lot of times mixers, they'll get it, because they listen to other stuff and it's like everything's on 11, it's so loud, and then they send it to mastering completely like a brick wall. Like if you open up the wave and you look at, there's no dips, it's just a solid line all the way across. If I'm gonna have it mastered by somebody that I trust, I use Paul Logus. I'm a big fan of his work. I've used him for quite a few years now. I want to have him have the opportunity to do stuff to make it even better. But if I send him a brick wall, there's nothing for him to do because it's already at the ceiling. So he's not really adding any new components to it. So there's a million different tricks in the stereo bus. A lot of people, they add several different layers of things on the stereo bus, and then sometimes you can add a second stereo bus, so you do little volume bumps in the master. I always say if I've got it right, you don't need to do that because it's already inherent into the mix. It's built into the mix in what I've done in terms of arrangement or, in the songwriting, all those components. There, like I said, there are some songs though that if I know that I'm not gonna rely on mastering, then I'll do several different layers. I'll add a Millennium EQ, or I'll add the Shadow Hills. These are UAD plugins. I'll add a Shadow Hills or something like that to achieve that kind of stereo bus effect. But like I said, in this case, I knew I was going to be using Paul Logus, so I wanted it very organic and straightforward.
We're talking about EQ and compression on the stereo bus to present things to client and present things to mastering. Mastering engineers, they don't like crushed mixes. Clients oftentimes do because they like to compare their mixes to albums they love. Now, if you send them a mix that is not pushed up, then oftentimes they're not into it because it's not as loud as the other one. It's kind of a pain in the ass to turn it up. So what we do is we kind of mock master a little bit, depending on where it goes. Sometimes it doesn't even go to mastering anymore. But let's see what I'm doing on this thing right now. Let's start at the end. I have a brick wall limiter on there that does nothing. It is set at no gain. It is set at minus O2 out. It is there to simply protect whatever else happens before then. This one just makes sure that nothing bad's going to go out and cause any overs anywhere else, but it's not used as a gaining tool or anything like that. Back in the day on analog consoles, we like to put compressors across the stereo bus, and we still do. I have this 33609 plugin from Universal on the stereo bus. So I have this set. Riding the stereo bus gently. It's not meant to, none of this is really meant to master or take the place of the mastering engineer, but it's meant to glue the mix together to a place where I'm happy with it. Now, having a little bit of this compressor on there, and this is the threshold is super high as to not cause a lot of pumping and compression to go on. It's set onto auto 1. There's gain of 4, and the compression is 1.5 to 1. So it's. What am I trying to do? It's benign until it comes to those toms, and it starts to catch those things, which is fine because it's not pumping overly. It's not doing anything bad. It just kind of reels everything, glues everything together, which is exactly what it needs to do. My next plug-in, the Air EQ, which is a nice EQ, and I'm really just using the air band to just give it a little bit of lift on the top end. I can't accept the truth. Let's go back to being. Again, it's very subtle. I just want it to have enough of that air. Certainly not too much. Like if you can put that in and it goes away too much when you take it out, then it's probably too much. It just is meant to like complement and smooth things out in a nice way. And you can see it's 1.24 dB of the air band and nothing else in there. And it's on the water setting and not the fire or neutral. And the water is is a lot more subdued of a setting. Then my next thing up, I use this guy, the Universal Audio Precision Maximizer. Again, it's not meant as a mastering tool, but I kind of use it to mimic tape saturation or the, instead of a tape plug-in or something. It's more about gluing things together still. And again, I'd rather have a few different plugins work together to give me and each one of them just doing a little bit and adding a little tiny bit to my result than one of them relying heavily on one to fix everything or to do too much. And so this thing helps a lot. I have it. I have the mix set to stun, like it's all processed, and the shape is sitting at about 82%. You can read up what maximizers do. I guess they're like limiters and crunchers and what have you, this and that. But we're in some ways still approximating what tape used to do for us and how we recorded stuff in tape. This is what I use to make things louder. That's this guy's job. Ozone 5. I'm still using this thing. I have the 7. I use that sometimes. This one, I'm just used to what it does, and it's very transparent, and it really is designed to push the level up. It's nice. I like having another set of ears listening through my mixes and judging them and filling in some holes here and there and doing what mastering engineers do, which is put it all together and putting one last quality control in there, which is nice because Mastering in your own stuff is all nice and good, but having an extra set of ears for perspective is definitely nice to catch anything you might have missed.